Welcome back to the DMV CDL Audio Edition Handbook, Section 9.7 through 9.8. The best way to learn is to listen. Okay, here we go. 9.7, Hazardous Materials in Emergencies. Emergency Response Guidebook, or the ERG. The DOT has a guidebook for firefighters, police, and industry workers on how to protect themselves and the public from hazardous materials. The guide is indexed by the proper shipping name and hazardous materials ID number. Emergency personnel look for these things on the shipping paper. This is why it is vital that the proper shipping name, ID number, label, and placards are correct. Accidents and incidents. As a professional driver, your job at the scene of an accident or an incident is to keep people away from the scene, limit the spread of the material, only if you can do so safely, communicate the danger of the hazardous materials to the emergency response personnel, provide emergency responders with the shipping papers and emergency response information. Follow this checklist. Check to see that your driving partner is okay. Check your shipping papers. Make sure they're with you. Keep people far away and upwind. Warn others of the danger. Call for help. Follow your employer's instructions. Fires. You might have to control minor truck fires on the road. However, unless you have the training and equipment to do so safely, do not fight hazardous materials fires. Dealing with hazardous materials fires requires special training and protective gear. When you discover a fire, call for help. You may use the fire extinguisher to keep minor truck fires from spreading to the cargo before firefighters arrive. Fill the trailer doors to see if they are hot before opening them. If hot, you may have a cargo fire and should not open the doors. Opening doors lets air in and may make the fire flare up. Without air, many fires only smolder until firemen arrive, doing less damage. If your cargo is already on fire, it is not safe to fight the fire. Keep the shipping papers with you to give to the emergency personnel as soon as they arrive. Warn other people of the danger and keep them away. If you discover a cargo leak, identify the hazardous materials leaking by using shipping papers, labels, or package location. Do not touch any leaking material. Many people injure themselves by touching hazardous materials. Do not try to identify the material or find the source of a leak by smell. Toxic gases can destroy your sense of smell and can injure or kill you even if they do not smell. Never eat, drink, or smoke around a leak or spill. If hazardous materials are spilling from your vehicle, do not move it any more than safety requires. You may move off the road and away from places where people gather if doing to serve the safety of others or yourself. Only move your vehicle if you can do so without danger to yourself or others. Never continue driving with hazardous materials leaking from your vehicle in order to find a phone booth, truck stop, help, or similar reason. Remember, the carrier pays for the cleanup of contaminated parking lots, roadways, and drainage ditches. The costs are enormous, so do not leave a lengthy trail of contamination. If hazardous materials are spilling from your vehicle, park it, secure the area, stay there, send someone else for help. When sending someone for help, give that person a description of the emergency, your contact location and direction of travel, your name, the carrier's name, and the name of the community or city where your terminal is located, the proper shipping name, hazard class, and ID numbers of the hazardous materials if you know them. This is a lot for someone to remember. It is a good idea to write it all down for the person you send for help. The emergency response team must know these things to find you and to handle the emergency. They may have to travel miles to get to you. This information will help them to bring the right equipment the first time without having to go back for it. Never move your vehicle if doing so will cause a contamination or damage to the vehicle. Keep upwind and away from roadside rest stops, truck stops, cafes, and businesses. Never try to repack leaking containers. Unless you have the training and equipment to repair leaks safely, do not try it. Call your dispatcher or supervisor for instructions and, if needed, emergency personnel. Responses to specific hazards with Class 1 explosives. If your vehicle has a breakdown or accident while carrying explosives, warn others of the danger. Keep bystanders away. Do not allow smoking or open flame near the vehicle. If there is a fire, warn others of the danger of the explosion. Remove all explosives before separating vehicles involved in an accident. Place the explosives at least 200 feet from vehicles and occupied buildings. Stay a safe distance away. Class 2 Compressed Gases. If compressed gases is leaking from your vehicles, warn others of the danger. Only permit those involved in removing the hazard or wreckage to get close. You must notify the shipper if compressed gas is involved in any accident. Unless you are fueling machinery used in road construction or maintenance, do not transfer a flammable compressed gas from one tank to another on public roadway. If you are transporting a flammable liquid and have an accident or your vehicle breaks down, prevent bystanders from gathering. Warn people of the danger. Keep them from smoking. Never transport a leaking cargo tank farther than needed to reach a safe place. Get off the roadway if you can do so safely. Do not transfer flammable liquid from one vehicle to another on a public roadway except in an emergency. Class 4 Flammable Solids and Class 5 Oxidizing materials. If a flammable solid or oxidizing material spills, warn others of the fire hazard. Do not open smoldering packages or flammable solids. Remove them from the vehicle if you can safely do so. Remove unbroken packages if it will decrease the fire hazard. Class 6 Poisonous materials and infectious substances. It is your job to protect yourself and other people and property from harm. Remember that many products classed as poison are also flammable. If you think a Division 2.3 poison gas or Division 6.1 poison material might be flammable, take the added precautions needed for flammable liquids or gases. Do not allow smoking, open flame, or welding. Warn others of the hazards of fire, of inhaling vapors, or coming in contact with this poison. A vehicle involved in a leak of Division 2.3 poisonous gas or Division 6.1 poison must be checked for stray poisons before being used again. If a Division 6.2 infectious substance package is damaged in handling or transportation, you should immediately contact your supervisor. Packages that appear to be damaged or show signs of leakage should not be accepted. Class 7 Radioactive materials. If radioactive materials is involved in a leak or broken package, tell your dispatcher or supervisor as soon as possible. If there is a spill, or if an infected container might be damaged, do not touch or inhale the material. Do not use the vehicle until it is cleaned and checked with a survey meter. Class 8 Corrosive materials. If corrosive spill or leak during transportation, be careful to avoid further damage or injury when handling the containers. Parts of the vehicle exposed to a corrosive liquid must be thoroughly washed with water. After unloading, wash out the interior as soon as possible before reloading. If continuing to transport a leaking tank, this would be unsafe. Get off the road. If safe to do so, contain any liquid leaking from the vehicle. Keep bystanders away from the liquid and its fumes. Do everything possible to prevent injury to you and to others. Required notification. The National Response Centers helps coordinate emergency response to chemical hazards. It is a resource to police and firefighters. It maintains a 24-hour toll-free phone listed below. You or your employer must phone when any of the following occur as a direct result of hazardous materials incident. You must call if a person is killed, if an injured person requires hospitalization, if estimated property damage exceeds 50 grand, if the general public is evacuated for more than 1 hour. You must also call if one or more major transportation arteries or facilities are closed for 1 hour or more. You must call if fire, breakage, spillage, or suspected radioactive contamination occurs. You must call if fire, breakage, spillage, or suspected contamination occurs involving shipment of an etiological agent. You must call if a situation exists of such a nature that in the judgment of the carrier it should be reported. Now the National Response Center phone number is 1-800-424-8802. Persons telephoning the National Response Center should be ready to give their name and address of the carrier they work for, phone number where they can be reached, day, time, and location of the incident, the extent of the injuries, if any, classification, name, and quantity of hazardous materials involved, if such information is available, and the type of incident, nature of hazardous materials involvement, and whether a continuing danger to life exists at the scene. If a reportable quantity of hazardous substance was involved, the name of the shipper and the quantity of the hazardous substance discharged. Be prepared to give your employer the required information as well. Carriers must make detailed written reports within 30 days of an incident to the ChemTrek at 1-800-424-9300, the Chemical Transportation Agency Center, which is called ChemTrek, in Washington, also has a 24-hour toll-free phone line. ChemTrek was created to provide emergency personnel with technical information about the physical properties of hazardous materials. The National Response Center and ChemTrek are in close communication. If you call either one, they will tell the other about the problem when appropriate. Do not leave radioactive yellow 2 or radioactive yellow 3 label packages near people, animals, or film longer than shown in figure 9.10, which is right here on your screen. California Immediate Spill Reporting. Spills of hazardous materials on California highways must be reported immediately to the CHP office or police department having traffic control jurisdiction. Classes of hazardous materials. Hazardous materials are categorized into 9 major hazard classes and additional categories for consumer commodities and combustible liquids. The classes of hazardous materials are listed in this figure on your screen. It's time to test your knowledge. I'll ask you a few questions. If you don't know the answer, re-listen to this video or see my video on the test questions and answers. Question number 1. If your placarded trailer has dual tires, how often should you check the tires? Number 2. What is a safe haven? Number 3. How close to the traveled part of the road can you park with Division 1.2 or 1.3 materials? Number 4. How close can you park to a bridge, tunnel, or building with the same load? Number 5. What type of fire extinguisher must a placarded vehicle carry? Number 6. You are hauling 100 pounds of Division 4.3 dangerous when wet material. Do you need to stop before a railroad highway crossing? Number 7. At a rest area, you discover your hazardous materials shipment slowly leaking from the vehicle. There is no phone around. What should you do? And number 8. What is the Emergency Response Guide, or the ERG? Remember, these tests may be on your DMV test, re-listen to this video, or see my video on test questions and answers. We move on. Hazardous Materials Glossary. If you need to know definitions, listen to the last part of this video. If not, feel free to go on to the next video in the playlist. But it is important to know, so just listen to it a couple times and you'll have it down. This glossary presents definitions of certain terms used in this section. A complete glossary of terms can be found in the Federal HMR CFR Title 49-171.8. You should have an up-to-date copy of these rules for your references. Note, you will not be tested on this glossary, so you don't have to worry about the test of this, but you may need to know what you're talking about. What is a bulk packaging? Packaging, other than a vessel or barge, including a transportation vehicle or freight container, and the hazardous materials are loaded with no intermediate form of containment which has a maximum capacity greater than 119 gallons as a receptacle for a liquid. Number 2, a maximum net mass greater than 882 pounds, or a maximum capacity greater than 119 gallons as a receptacle for a solid, or a water capacity greater than 1,000 pounds as a receptacle for a gas, or defined in CFR Title 49-173.115. Okay, cargo tank. A bulk packaging, which is, it's a tank intended primarily for the carriage of liquids or gases and includes reinforcements, fittings, and closures. Permanently attached to or forms a part of a motor vehicle, or not permanently attached to a motor vehicle, but which is, by reason for its size, construction, or attachment to a motor vehicle, is loaded or unloaded without being removed from the motor vehicle. Or number 3, not fabricated under a specification of cylinders, portable tanks, tank cars, or multi-unit tank car tank. What is a carrier? A carrier is a person engaged in the transportation of passengers or property by land or water as a common contract or private carrier, or civil aircraft. What's a consignee? A consignee, the business or persons to whom a shipment is delivered. Now a division. What's a division? A division is a subdivision of a hazard class. What does EPA stand for? EPA stands for the Environmental Protection Agency. What does the FMCSR stand for? FMCSR, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. What is a freight container? A freight container is a reusable container having a volume of 64 cubic feet or more, designed and constructed to permit being lifted with its contents intact and intended primarily for containment of packages during transportation. Okay, what is a fuel tank? A fuel tank is a tank, other than a cargo tank, used to transport flammable or combustible liquid or compressed gas for the purpose of supplying fuel for propulsion of the transport vehicle to which it is attached, or for the operation of other equipment on the transport vehicle. Okay, what's the gross weight or mass? The weight of the packaging plus the weight of its content. What is a hazard class? Hazard class is a category of hazard assigned to a hazardous material under the definition criteria of Part 173 of the provisions of CFR Title 49 172.101 table. A material may meet the definition criteria for more than one hazard class, but is assigned to only one hazard class. What is a hazardous material? A hazardous material is a substance or material which has been determined by the Secretary of Transportation to be capable of poisoning and an unreasonable risk to health, safety, and property when transported in commerce, and which has been so designated. The term includes hazardous substances, waste, marine pollutants, elevated temperature materials, and material designated as hazardous in the Material Hazardous Guide, and materials that meet the definition criteria for hazardous classes and divisions in CFR Title 49, Part 173, Subchapter C. What is a hazardous substance? Hazardous substance is a material, including its mixtures and solutions, that is listed in Appendix A, CFR Title 49, Part 173 and 172. Is in quantity in one package, which equals or exceeds the reportable quantity listed in Appendix A to CFR Title 49, Part 173 and 172.101, and, when in a mixture or solution, for radionuclides, conforms to paragraph 7 of Appendix A to CFR Title 49, Part 173 and 172.101. For other than radionuclides, is in a concentration by weight which equals or exceeds the concentration corresponding to the RQ of the material as shown in this figure. This definition does not apply to the petroleum products that are lubricants or fuels. What is a hazardous waste? What a hazardous waste, for the purposes of this chapter, means any material that is subject to the hazardous waste manifest requirements of the EPA specified in CFR Title 40, Part 262. Now, what is intermediate bulk container, or an IBC? An intermediate bulk container is a rigid or flexible portable packaging other than a cylinder or portable tank, which is designated for mechanical handling. Okay, limited quantity is the maximum amount of hazardous materials for which there may be specified labeling or packaging exceptions. What is your marking? Your marking is the descriptive name, ID number, instructions, caution weight, specifications, and the marks, combination thereof, required outage, pokage of hazardous materials. Okay, what is a mixture? A mixture is a material composed of more than one chemical compound. What's the name of your contents? It's the proper shipping name as specified in CFR Title 49. Non-bulk packaging. It's a packaging which has a maximum capacity of 119 gallons or less, or 882 pounds or less, or a water capacity greater than 1,000 pounds or less as a receptacle for gas or defined in CFR Title 49. What does NOS stand for? NOS stands for not otherwise specified. What is outage or ullage? Outage is the amount by which a package falls short of being liquid full. What is a portable tank? A portable tank is bulk packaging designed primarily to be loaded onto or on or temporarily attached to a transport vehicle. What is the proper shipping name? Proper shipping name is the name of the hazardous materials shown in Roman print, not in italics, in your CFR Title 49, 172-101. Okay, what is PSI? PSI stands for pounds per square inch. What is PSIA? PSIA stands for pounds per square inch absolute. Okay, what is reported quantity, or RQ? The RQ is the quantity specified in column 2 of the Appendix A to CFR Title 49, 172-101 for any material identified in column 1 of Appendix A. Okay, what is RSPA, or now PHMSA? The PHMSA is the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. What is the shipper's certification? Shipper's certification is a statement on a shipping paper signed by the shipper saying he or she prepared the shipment properly according to the law. What is the shipping paper? Shipping paper is a shipping order, bill of lading, manifest, or other shipping document serving a similar purpose and containing the information required by CFR Title 49, 172.202. What is a technical name? A technical name is a recognized chemical name or microbiological name currently used in scientific and technical handbooks. Transport vehicle. What is a transport vehicle? It's a cargo-carrying vehicle such as an automobile, van, tractor, truck, semi-trailer, truck car, or rail car used for the transportation of cargo by any mode. Well, thank you so much. We've completed the hazmat section. Listen to this once or twice. Go in and take your test, no problem. Also see my video on the DMV test answers and questions.